And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I am Michael DeLon. Today I'm talking with Elaine Boyd. And Elaine, thanks so much for squeezing me into your calendar today.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, you are welcome. It's going to be a great conversation. Um, Elaine, I love the name of your company, Workday Ninja. And when I first saw that, I'm like, well, that is really cool. It just brings some really fun images to my mind. And so what Elaine does is she and her company help you as business owners, help you build simple, repeatable systems so that you can wait for it. You can take time off because the systems are working. So I can't wait, Elaine, to dive into this. My audience knows I'm a big systems person, and I can't wait to just pick your brain, understand how you help people, and tell me how, as we just dive into this whole thing, tell me
Let's
how
do
in the
it.
world did you get doing what you're doing today?
I'm going to give you the quick of it so I don't bore you, but I sold my agency in 2018. I had over 600 active clients and I had 125 employees that were a well-oiled machine. And coming out of that, I got bored in retirement and thought, what am I going to do next? And sat back and was like, what did I really enjoy? I loved building the processes, building the operations so that I could get time off. I didn't have to work myself to death. And that was the end reason why I got acquired. I'm like, maybe there's other companies out there that want my skill set for coming in, helping work flow better. And so it turns out there is a market that not every company, has that defined.
Not every company, that's right. Like one in 1,000, maybe.
Yeah. It's actually a much bigger market than I thought there would be.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's interesting because as we talk about processes and systems, and we work with our clients around just simple marketing systems. I mean, weekly emails, or how do you get somebody to actually request a copy of your book and follow up with them, and they're like deer in the headlights, let alone processes and onboarding and all that. Because I think part of it, we're entrepreneurs, we're idea
Yeah.
people, we're front end, and that stuff drains me, Elaine. I just I
Yes.
so do you find that is true?
Yeah. I mean, I personally feel drained by it if I have to do every little thing. So
Yeah,
I need team members that thrive in that. And that's what I find to complement my personality.
yeah,
But business owners, they're just like us, that nuance and those processes, they want to be the ideas, the strategy. We need the team members to execute, but they need what's out of our head. And
right.
that's the hard part is getting a business owner to actually say somebody else can do this. It doesn't have to be me. And when that shift can happen, you can actually start delegating and take a break and get out of office and not get slacks and WhatsApp and text when you're trying to have a beer at the end of the day or whatever it
Absolutely.
might be.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I had a coach that was in Dallas, Texas, and I was with him for a number of years, and he built his business to multi-millions, and he's helped others in an industry where you wouldn't expect it. And his whole thing was you've got to have systems and then people, and then you resource your people. And I always liked his process there. He's like, if you hire people but they don't have systems, they don't have they don't know what to do,
Mhm.
it's not working. But if you have a system, and he had a 3-ring binder systems, right? He's like, keep it simple, start here, then you can iterate. Do you find that process of systems first, then the people to run the system? Would you agree with that, or do you have thoughts around that?
If we can get owners to come to that concept, that is it. Because this is what happens a lot of times in organizations. We see it all the time. They're bloated with people because they hire people to solve the problem. The problem isn't more and more people. That creates more and more chaos. But if you build the system that people can follow, people can get done with their workday.
Yeah.
They don't have to, hey, can you jump on a quick Zoom with me? Can we do a call? Like, I've got these questions. Like, they can just get their work done. You don't need to keep throwing more people at it. A lot of times, it's just the system is not there and there's not enough resources for those employees.
Right. Yeah. All right. So let's dive in there with Workday Ninja, and I love when I read your lines about simple, repeatable systems. Let's unpack that. Give us some examples or how you help people. Just let's dive into that because that was intriguing to me.
Yeah, repeatable processes, so many times you start talking to a client and they're like, well, nothing I do is repeatable. I'm like, well, then that's problem A, right? If nothing you do is repeatable, then you are a consultant and that is all that's ever going to happen because
Right.
you're only as good as what's in your head, right? So repeatable is, the one main thing here. New client onboarding is a big one that we
Yeah.
do. There's so many, it takes a long time between the salesperson and the client fulfillment team. Just getting between, what did that customer buy? What are their goals? Transitioning that could take 2 hours of your team's time. That
Yeah.
part could be automated.
Yeah.
Then looking at a checklist, we're big on project management systems like Asana, ClickUp, and Monday, those kind
Yeah.
of project management things that help workflow. And that template that you could create for every time you've got a new client with a checklist that automatically gets created. You talk about consistency,
Yes.
accuracy. Everybody knows where things are at. You don't have to, hey, where are we at on this? Where are we at on this? Like, no, you can see
Yeah.
the process works, itself whenever you
Yeah.
have a new client onboarded, new employee onboarding. This one, it really depends on the size of the company.
Mm-hmm.
You have a small company, 3 to 5 employees, you might only hire one person a year. It's not a big deal. But if you are growing and you're needing to hire more, the new employee onboarding is a
Yeah.
big one. And then you've got training. People forget to train their employees.
Shocking, isn't it? And we wonder why they don't last, or they don't do what I want them to do.
Yeah.
And around the training, or so let's just camp there. Onboarding and
Okay.
training are two big deals, but I'm a big fan of Loom, Loom.
Yeah.
We use Loom everywhere in our company because it allows us to train our writers and things of here's the paperback expert way. And we record a
Mhm.
video and then it gets put in the library. So guess what? I only had to do that once.
One time. Yeah.
And it's amazing to me how many business owners fight that,
Yeah.
or they say, "Well, I don't have time for that." I'm like, "You don't have time not to do it." Right? They
Yeah.
just they don't think systems and processes, or they think it's going to be way too hard. And I think that's probably what Workday Ninja kind of come alongside and say, "We got you." Is that
Yeah.
fair?
It is. And you nailed it when you just mentioned something so subtle, but it's the big difference is in your company, it's the paperback expert way. It's
Yes.
not Michael's way. It's not someone on your team's way, because then you've got 40 different ways, right? No,
Right.
you want to have the way of your company. And when we start diving into companies and we get the process documentation part of it, that's what we're gathering. Okay, what is everybody's way? And then what is going to be the company way? And so that's step one. And then what you just said about Loom, technology makes it so much easier now to
Yeah.
get those things out of your head. Loom is perfect. Record a quick Loom video, walking that person through. Then you can actually take it one step further. Copy that transcript. Loom already provides a transcript. Put that into ChatGPT or whatever AI platform and say, hey, using this transcript, write a step-by-step process that I just walked through.
Yeah.
And within 10 seconds, you'll have that every piece of it. Then tell it, all right, great, make a checklist out of this.
Yeah.
Then you can take that, you can put it in your project management system, and now you have a checklist to support the process that took you 30 seconds to put together after you recorded that Loom.
Yeah. It's so good. And then you not only now have a process, but you have a process that works the way you as the business owner want. And now I
Mhm.
think as you onboard new people, you can equip them to run the systems and hopefully have the trust in them to say, okay, Elaine, you're my new employee. I want you to run the system this way. And then
Mhm.
in a week or two or three, if you find ways that we can improve that system, let's have a conversation because is
Absolutely.
that fair?
And you don't have to be the one doing everything then. You just supported your team to
Yes.
say, hey, you've got other ideas. You just went through it. You can build it and add to it. Let's improve it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really think that's where business owners they hit a stumbling block or a barrier because they think they have to have the process from A to Z. And I learned a long time ago, if I get from A to D, I'm doing
Mhm.
pretty well. And then I can find somebody to take it from E to Z, right? I had to get my alphabet there. Um,
Yeah,
I don't
somebody
have
that
to.
likes all those details.
Oh, yeah, God did make them. My son is one of them. My wife is another. And I've learned a long time ago. You don't know this, Elaine. I'm only good at four things in life: Okay. I'm wicked good at these four things. But outside of those four
Okay.
things, I'm like mediocre at best. So I've just learned to bring people around me who are wicked good at the other things. And it just
Mhm.
frees me up so much. And we were talking about freedom here. We get into business to have freedom. And
Yeah.
I just don't know a lot of business owners who have that because they are so stuck in doing everything, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, it happens so often. And how do you delegate? And how do you get other people to get the job done without you
Yeah.
having to micromanage? A lot of times we don't like micromanaging, but we didn't get ourselves out of it that we're having to do it.
Yeah. Yes. And I think one of the things I love about you and in your company and how you work with people is you've done it. You've built a successful business, you sold it successfully, and then you got bored and you said, "Well, maybe somebody needs this." But you are one of us, right? You didn't
Mhm.
graduate from some college or get some degree to do this. You've lived this, and as an entrepreneur yourself, you speak our language and you can quickly see, "Hey, Michael, no, here's the bottlenecks. Here's what's going on. Let us fix it." Is that kind of how you work with people?
Yeah, I start listening to, okay, what to you is the biggest pain points?
Mhm.
And then we can start evolving, okay, because a lot of times they need a project management system or it's being underutilized, the
Yes.
current one that they're using. All right, let's start there a lot of the times, but some things are other technology. They're forcing their team to work in an archaic way that is extremely costly. They're so scared of paying software licenses, but they'll pay somebody $75,000 a year that a
Yeah,
software they could have paid 3,000 for that year. So, part of it is, getting the evolution of technology integrated into the company.
right.
And then, we mentioned employee training, but a lot of times software is underutilized at companies. The,
Yeah,
the training didn't happen, the change management wasn't there. And so, okay, what needs to happen so that everybody can be using this technology the same way? Sometimes it's the CRM. You've got four different salespeople, every one of them using it a different way, and none of them are using it correctly. They're doing the bare minimum, right, to get their commissions,
yeah,
calling that done. So it's a big thing on accountability, making sure that the managers have the tools that they need to have visibility. A lot of times you get into a company and there's no visibility. You might have rock star employees, but on paper right now, because you don't have the dashboards, the KPIs, the visibility, they look the same as everybody else.
yeah,
But if you keep digging in, you're going to notice they've got 41 tasks assigned to them that day and they get 30% done. And then somebody else has 10 and they get two done. That's a
right.
big difference. But until you have that insight, everybody looks the same. And it's just a feeling,
Yeah,
oh, I like them. I feel like they're doing a good job. No, we need data.
yeah, yeah. We run businesses with data. And I think
Yep.
that's honestly the other thing that scares business owners is like, right, KPIs, and I don't even, I still run on Excel. And it's like, well, okay, timeout. Excel's an amazing thing, but you shouldn't be running your business on it, probably. They don't They don't know the technology, I think. They get
Mhm.
scared because they see so many out there, and this whole AI thing, right, is just like the new world order is coming, and I think so many times business owners just kinda stick their head in the sand and go, "Well, it works for me now." Instead of
Mhm.
embracing it and bringing somebody like you into the picture to go, "Elaine, help. This is where I am, and can you help me take baby steps so I can actually start walking down the road one of these days?" Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a huge piece, that they don't know the technology.
Huh.
They might not identify as being technology savvy, and so it's scary for them, and then a burden for them because they feel like I've got to go in and implement this. I've got to do the training. It's overwhelming because we're doing a million other things.
Yeah, and I may pick the wrong software. How do I
Mhm.
know which went right? Because they're all out there, all the shiny objects, they do everything. And I think sometimes business owners that we just need a voice of reason. And
Yeah.
I think working with Elaine is a voice of reason because she's been there. She is one of us, and she understands the landscape, right? So let's dive down. Who I was gonna say who should work for you. What is the like an ideal prospect for you when they reach out? What are they dealing with when they come to you and you can say, "Got it. I can help
Yeah.
you." What are some of those issues or struggles that they're just, "Ugh."
the core things. So company size. So either it's a department of 30 to 50 people or team size of 30 to 50 people. That's where when companies hit 30 employees,
Mhm.
that is where everything starts breaking down.
Okay.
And so you hear things like managers or owners say, I just want it to work like it used to. I want, where they felt like there was a sweet spot and that is now gone. And they say things like, I'm getting Slacks and emails all day. I let go of an employee and now I'm digging through their old emails trying to find the answer of what this customer said. These are some like key pieces. They'll say, I've got a Slack group with 4 other executives on my team, and all we do is ask each other where things are right now. Like, what's this project status? What's this client status? And so that's when I'm like, okay, there's some things missing in place.
Yeah.
And usually it's, is the CRM being utilized correctly? Do you have a project management system? Do you have a knowledge base? That is the other key thing. When they don't have a knowledge base, then no one, you only have people to ask questions to. You don't have a resource to ask questions. Your only answer is to take up somebody's time. So that knowledge base is a big piece of it.
Okay, unpack that. So knowledge base in my language is a library. Your own company library where I can go and access some. Is that, am I on track?
Yeah, and yeah. And you have an Loom library where resources where people can go get an answer to a question, basically. And people feel like that this knowledge base, like, I need to document everything right now. Like, no, that's not even feasible. That doesn't work like that. But you can do it when you get a question, then you record a Loom or you write a document that goes in the library. And it doesn't just need to be you. It has to be a culture built around this idea. If it's just one person leading the way, you're not going to have a culture that uses it. Right. Then the other piece is, once you do start getting a library built with knowledge resources, is that you have to make sure the culture uses it, because the easiest way for somebody to get an answer is to go ask someone, and you have to break that habit.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it's yeah. Well, let's go to the library together, or go check the library first.
Go try, yes.
Right, because I know the answer is there. I saw the book last week. It's sitting on the shelf. But you're right, and it is, that's how we train people or retrain them to go, no, it's here. And I'm fortunate that my son is brilliant, and he started building systems for our business a number of years ago, and he has like one Excel document that lists every single system and a link to that system. And I went, that's amazing, because I can find any system because I have one document. It's a master document.
Everything in there. Yeah.
And that's our library system. And the entire team uses it. And I went, that's just amazing. Elaine, I would never think about to do that. So it's having people who have that mindset. You have that kind of a mindset. We as entrepreneurs, we need that mindset to come to the table and help us set this up and get us to the next place, so that we can take time off without getting slacks and things. We can grow our company without us necessarily doing everything, because Lord knows that ain't gonna work. No. And how do you work with you? Is your when you engage with a company, is it a short term, like 3 months? Is it a year? Or does it just depend on that company and what their needs are?
Yeah, so we've got a couple of different ways that we work. So one is, if the company is smaller, but they still want our knowledge and and training on what to do, then we have smaller packages for them. And we meet twice a month so that we can train them on what needs to be done. And then if they actually want us to do the implementation, it depends on how much they want to restructure their company and how many different systems they have. But what we put in place is, so that it could work for everybody, is that it's a monthly fee and it's a subscription model, and they can pause cancel, downgrade, and upgrade anytime. So sometimes, like we have one implementing an ERP, and it was getting too overwhelming to do the ERP and us at the same time. So for the next 2 weeks, they're paused. They're going to come right back after that. And, we see that happen all the time, and it works perfect. Like you go on vacation, you don't want to be billed for when you're on vacation for something you're not helping move the needle. So that's what we've implemented. And so some projects are really quick. It might be a 4-week project. Other ones could be 6 months. If it's like, okay, we have these 4 main systems that we want to not just identify what the current workflow is, but we want to take that and make a new and improved company workflow with automation.
Yeah.
And so that's when we look at, okay, you're using Pipedrive, ClickUp, and PandaDocs for proposal. How can we use those APIs and create an automation so your sales team isn't manually creating anything, that it automatically kicks off the new client onboarding when the client is won in Pipedrive? Then we can start building all these little automations, and you're saving your team a ton of time.
Yep. It's okay. So I'm gonna speak to my audience for just a second. Y'all just need to connect with her when we tell you where, because so many business owners struggle with either getting leads to appointments, or appointments to clients, or clients to onboarding or something. And what I find is I dive in, it's because they don't have systems.
Yeah.
Right. And so in our company, we, when I got a new client, I used to go and, fill out this form and then send an email to my person, and then they would take it. And I was talking to my son. I'm like, is there a better way to do this? Well, he brings his brain to the table, and he and his assistant put together a form inside Infusionsoft, which is our CRM, right?
Yeah.
And now all I do is I open up your record, I click 4 or 5 buttons, I hit submit, and everything's done.
Yeah.
And I went back to him, I said, oh, praise God, my shoes are coming off. I'm on holy ground. This is amazing. But
and it keeps you happier because you're not doing those tedious things.
Amen. I am like giddy every time that is so fun. Then he goes to the next step, and you're not going to believe this, right? When we get a client, right, we send them the agreement, the online agreement, and he found a way to like automate that whole thing. So we now like use the digital signing thingamajigger.
Yeah.
I mean, that rocked my world. I'm like, we can do that. It is so cool. Our clients are happier. We're happier. We have a copy of everything. It's stored. So that's what I'm talking about, folks, is these little systems help me know that I've crossed all the T's and dotted all the things, because I have to hit submit. And that gives my team everything they need. And now I can go to the next thing and meet with the next prospect, which is my sweet spot. I don't want to deal with all that stuff.
Exactly.
If you don't have processes in place to everywhere from a lead to an appointment to a client to onboarding to referrals, if you don't have systems in place, just stop and reach out to Elaine and say, I need help, because I assure you, and I don't even know what you charge, Elaine, but I'm sure it's affordable. But I guarantee you it's going to get you an ROI that is multiples, because it's not a one-time thing. You set up a system, it's going to work for the rest of the time you're in business. This is a no-brainer. I'm sorry, I got on my hobby horse. I had to get off. I'm sorry. But that's, I mean, true.
It's so true. Once it's set up, there might be tweaks and things, but we're talking minimal changes to a system now that's in your place that your team can execute. And a lot of what we've been talking about is client facing and sales facing, but content marketing, creating schedules, assigning tasks, checklists for blogs, SEO, things that your team can take and execute and make sure all those things happen. And it's done correctly every single time.
Yeah.
And it's internal to your team. A recurring task for your accountant to pull the reports that you need, to pull billable time, to invoice clients. That seems like, why do I need a reminder for that? Well, what if they're on vacation and someone different on the team has to do it? What if there's somebody you need to give a refund to, and instead of them having to stop what they're doing and go into QuickBooks or whatever your billing software is, they can collect all of those little things throughout the month, put it in their recurring task, and then knock it out at one time, instead of, okay, I don't want to forget to do that, I'm going to go jump in there and do that right now. And then they're just, jumping everywhere. That doesn't need to happen. You can put all of these internal things into a process too, for your team to take it and rock it.
Yeah. And honestly, that's huge. And I'm glad you said that, because I mean, employees, they get sick, they get hit by trucks, they leave, dare I say.
Mhm.
And when that happens, if you don't have systems in place, guess what? You get to retrain the next person and you're just pulling your hair out because it's a hassle. But
It is, and it's your time.
it's your time, which is super valuable. And I'm not coming back from Tahiti to train you. So I'm just, so Elaine, Elaine, this is cool. Where do people find more information about Workday Ninja? How you can help them and take that next step? Where in the world would they go?
Go to workdayninja.com and it has stuff where there's 2 free resources on there. So one, if you're wondering, we talked about technology, like where do I even start? If you're wanting to put in a project management system or wondering which one to use, it's a quick 12 questions and it'll spit out a report immediately telling you which one. We've worked with so many companies. We have distilled it down to certain questions to ask. And then another one, it'll build a custom report based on the software you use in your company on which automations could be put in place right now to start saving your team time, start saving you money. And it's an instant report generator that we've built. So both of those are on workdayninja.com. And then connecting with me personally, I'm very active on LinkedIn. I love connecting. So please reach out. Elaine Boyd on LinkedIn.
I love it. We're going to have those resources in the show notes. So make sure that you go there. And I just really encourage my audience to re-listen to this because Elaine and I talked about a lot of things and she dropped a lot of nuggets that probably just went past you. Just take some time, re-listen to this and really think about your business. Think about your life. Is your business sucking the life out of you? Because it shouldn't. It doesn't need to be that way. And the solution, honestly, is not more sales. The solution is more systems and then people to run those systems. And guess what? That starts running. Now you can get more sales more easily because you don't let things drop through the cracks. Trust me, I know this thing because I'm living it. So, Elaine Boyd, workdayninja.com. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming out of retirement and putting together this really cool thing that helps so many people. And for being my
Thank
guest,
you, Michael.
it's been just a ton
This
of fun.
was so much fun.
All right. Thanks for listening to Expert Speak. Tune in again next week for another great ninja style interview. Take care. God bless.